So Peru has decided to classify transgender people as mentally ill. And of course, some people are upset about this. Let's go to the Factor Uncensored for the story.
Peru has established a new group of people considered to be mentally ill. Transgender, intersex, and non-binary people are now officially in that category in that country. The president of Peru signed off on the law last week, according to the state's health ministry.
The president of Peru is a woman named Dina Boluarte.
The decision was made to guarantee full coverage of medical attention for mental health for the transgender community, which should also note people in LGBTQ plus community as a whole will not be forced to do conversion therapy, meaning make them straight.
They are offering medical attention for the mental health, but they are not trying to make them straight, just so we're clear.
Joining us to talk about it, therapist Dr. Bernadette Smith, Ryle Williams from the Urban Conservatives of America, and Barbie Braxton, a model and local member of the Houston LGBTQ community, transgender community. So, Barbie, first of all, your thoughts on this when you hear Peru saying individuals who may be transgender and other categories may have mental illness.
They can't speak for people. You can't say who's mentally ill. It's not just everybody from being straight to first off, let me slow down. Heterosexual people, LGBTQ plus IA community. Everybody has a mental illness within those groups of people. So you can't just automatically say because someone's trans or intersex or anything is automatically mentally ill.
All right, Ron, let's hear from you. Your thoughts on this from the Peruvian government.
I think that it was a great decision. I think that, it kind of speaks for itself. Studies show that people who are transgender, for instance, in Sweden, they did a study, they're 6 times more likely to have to take, anxiety medication. 3 times more likely when they're transgender to have to take antidepressants. So that kind of speaks for itself. When you go against God's order and you begin to try to live a lifestyle that he didn't create you to live.
God didn't make that.
God didn't make what?
God, we've been here since forever. So you can't go and bring God into this and say what God made when God didn't make that.
Do you believe?
The Bible was a book that was written. If you want to go there.
Let's not even get into that.
You took it there when you said about when you brought up God.
We're talking about whether or not transgenderism is a mental disorder.
Like I stated, everybody from every community has mental illness. It's a lot of transgender people, intersex people. I'm a transgender woman. I'm a transgender woman. I'm a transgender woman. I'm a transgender woman. Stop trying to disrespect me and be real for you, because we can really take it there.
Let's bring in Dr.
I don't care, and I'm feeling feminine vibes and tacky vibes. Look at you. So you sit here talking this all greasy and stuff. So
guys, hey, look, we're going to do one at a time, or we're going to move on. Dr. Smith. Let's bring you on. Go ahead.
I bet he can't intimidate you. You the same size as him. But listen, all jokes aside, bringing up God in this, listen, I believe in God, and he believes in God, and I believe in the rules of the Bible, this, that, and the other, but you're probably not going to win the argument when you're talking to someone who lives a lifestyle that is outside of the rules and regulations of the Bible. If they don't believe, then they're probably not going to adhere to that in the first place. What you could have said was, let's just get an example. He could possibly say that he's Jesus and he has returned, right? Do you think they would believe him or would probably laugh at him? Most likely, right? They'd probably be like, you know what, prove it. Do a miracle. But instead of doing miracles, all he could do was like magic tricks, right? Quick illusions. And they'd be like, well, you didn't prove that you like. There's so many examples. It's like if he showed up to the interview and started to act like a dog. He wants to identify as a dog. He starts barking instead of talking with them as they normally would conversate, right? He starts walking around on all fours. Just because he did these things, would you say that he's then a dog? Or would you laugh at him or say something's off with him? Something mentally wrong with him? You dig what I'm saying? Like a person can go on the Vegas Strip and be a Michael Jackson impersonator for 8 hours a day, right? The moment that they start to go 24 hours with the Michael Jackson impersonation, and they never break that character, you start to say, is something mentally wrong with this person? We need to have him talk to somebody. You understand what I'm saying? You can act as Batman on a movie set, but the moment that movie is over, the movie that came out and everything else, a year later, you're still acting as Batman, people are going to say you have a mental illness. You understand what I'm saying? Transgender people would look at that behavior and say that that's mental illness. So why is it that they can't acknowledge it when it comes to their selves? Listen, you can identify as a shark. That don't mean you're going to be able to breathe underwater when you jump in it. Nor does it mean the sharks are going to recognize you as a shark. You understand what I'm saying? We can call you whatever you want to be called. But I think what Peru is doing here is trying to get you to realize that for whatever you want to be called is cool. But what science says is different. Science has a clear distinction. It's either man or woman. You understand what I'm saying? Let's continue with the video.
So what becomes important is, one, we have to be able to respect people where they are. And the other thing, we talked about this before, people will take a statistic, and because they don't understand how to properly read the statistics, that's how then you infer improper information. So when we're looking at statistics and where people in the LGBTQI community are more susceptible to things such as anxiety and depression and suicide, is because they're living in a society that does not allow them to be their full versions of themselves.
That's not true.
Can you imagine
that's
how
not true.
challenging it would be if somebody said, you can no longer wear your glasses and now you have to function in society without it?
You have goofy therapists like this who try to make it seem as though the LGBTQ community is somehow being suppressed and that they're, they have to hide. This is the freest time that there ever has been in U.S. history when it comes to this type of subject. As a matter of fact, the LGBTQ community has often become the bully in these situations, because anytime you say simple things like what science says when it says that there is a man and a woman, only genders, these people bully you out of existence. You almost lose your career for just speaking the facts of that. So to the alphabet community, stop playing victim and just enjoy that you can live as free and as open as you want to live in this day and time. But just realize that just because you want to call yourself something other than what you are, don't mean that other people have to go along with it. I can say I'm a millionaire, doesn't mean I am one. Peru is free to do whatever they want to do in their country. And honestly, I hope that the U.S. follows suit with this, because there's nothing wrong with dressing up and being whoever you want to be. But it's important that we stay rooted in reality. It's your boy P. Camp.